All right, everyone. Hello and welcome. We are back again today, as you can tell by the background, which I'm sorry, our guest, not haven't introduced yet. They're only seeing green live on screen right now. I am swapping it out with the Star Wars celebration photo backdrop, photo opportunity, whatever. Hey, I'm Spencer Brinkerhoff III, and I'm recording this thing live from Studios B3, and we're talking all about Star Wars Celebration Orlando 2017. We've been taking time out of our busy schedule to put a spotlight on the artists who have made it past that hurdle and are in the actual Star Wars Celebration art show. Today we are super excited, super pleased to have Joe Hogan with us. Joe, let me bring you in real quick. There you are. I can see you. Joe?
How's it going, Spencer and everybody at home?
Literally, tens of people are watching. So,
At
make
least,
sure,
right?
watch
This
the
is crazy.
language and everything.
Uh-oh.
Now,
I'm from New York. I got a potty mouth, so I gotta curb it a little bit.
well, Joe, it's just you and I on the screen right now. Let me switch over real quick and let's talk briefly. I'm going to show them your art. So your artwork is up here. We got Jango's finest with all of his crew there. Now, this is not the first Star Wars art piece that you have created. Let's talk a little bit about your path to being here in the Star Wars Orlando 2017 Star Wars Celebration.
Oh man.
What do you remember? Like, what was maybe the first sort of Star Wars piece that you did, or the first one that you sort of like put out there and started getting feedback, and you thought, this is what I want to do?
I think the first big one that jump-started my career was the Force.net approached me to do their table banner for Celebration 5.
Right?
And I hadn't done anything professionally at the time. Like I went to art school and I wanted to be an illustrator, but couldn't like get my foot in the door. So they happened to
Right? Yep. Yep. Wait a second. That was Celebration 5. That was in Orlando. Yep. Okay. I probably do. Yes. Because, no, go ahead. I want to hear from your side because I'll tell you from my side because I have something to say too. Go ahead. Right? Right, right. Yeah.
can't remember if it was for Celebration Japan or you just had this print made where you did a motion video
Right, right.
of the I love you I know scene in the
Yep.
carbon freezing chamber.
Right.
So we talked about that for a little while.
Oh yeah, I was gonna download the your motion video and have it on here as well, but that's too fancy. So okay. Well, and ready. So here's the other side of this story that I'm not sure if you know is that almost that whole weekend, I had people coming up to me and go, and they had their like badges and they were involved with the Force.net. And they were like, "Oh, Spencer, we love the artwork that you did for the banner." And I was like, "That wasn't me. That was Joe Hogan. Have you met Joe? He's here at the show." And so I was like pawning people off to go and meet you at the show. And so that's how we met. So things started for you sort of like getting attention when the Force.net and the Force.net had their podcast and their show that they did. And they're still doing a lot of wonderful things and a lot of things with collecting, but they don't do the podcasting as much right now. But I was part of that show for a while. Now, one of the things that I think that people would sort of like recognize, your art and my art is that we take sort of an animated style to the Star Wars universe. So we don't have to be like spot on with our characterizations, but at the same time, we still have to be somewhat recognizable. So, what is your sort of like animation sort of background and history, as well as the influence that you have in creating these styles?
Art school, but I was there for cartooning. So actually, cartooning was my first love.
Right?
So I did a lot of comics. I still do like a lot of comic stuff on my own. Every once in a while, I do some, I get like a little indie gig. So that stuff's really fun. That stuff's still in my blood. Animation, I'm just 100% self-taught. I just watch a lot and we'll go frame by frame to like understand things better, and
Right.
I'll watch YouTube videos on how to get better, how to animate specific things. Um, and I guess in terms of inspiration, I think you and I are kind of on the same page with Gendy
There he
Tartakovsky's
is.
Clone Wars. Man, I saw that Clone Wars for the first time. I was always a big Samurai Jack fan, but
Yeah.
when I saw the Clone Wars, I was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to draw
Right.
cartoon Star Wars for the rest of
And
my life.
and for those people out there that I don't know how may not know what the Clone Wars is, these are the Clone Wars micro series. So the Cartoon Network contacted and worked with Gendy Tartakovsky, who is the creator of the Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab, and they said, we want to do this Star Wars thing, and we are going to make these micro cartoons. And they only existed like in between like their regularly scheduled shows. So you'd watch the show, and then it was scheduled to be on like in a commercial break, and the things were
Right.
gone in an instant,
Yep.
just like that. And then they did a second season, and that second season, basically, they were told you can animate the opening scroll of episode 3.
That's insane. Could you imagine getting that gig?
Oh
Being
man,
like, yeah, your cartoon is going to lead into the next Star Wars movie.
right. And
That's
so
insane.
when you saw General Grievous in episode 3, and he had that hack and that cough, we all know that was because Mace Windu was catching him and like force crushed his chest, and he stepped onto that ship and he started coughing. And I'm like, that's where the cough came from. And that's also where we introduced to the scruffiest Jedi of them all, Shaggy. No,
That's right.
green
Who's totally
cloak,
not
red
Shaggy
sort of
from
hair.
Scooby Doo, right?
Wait a second, didn't Grievous like
Not at all.
crush him? Like yeah. He freaked
Yeah,
out and Scoob
he was
wasn't
the first
around,
one
so
to
he
go.
just took off and he got crushed.
That's right.
I know it's great stuff, and I'll say this about that
Make me
series
want to
as
watch
well
it again.
is
It's been a
in
while.
that sort of like series for those people who haven't seen it. There's a scene in there where Anakin has to face his trials, and they explain the facing of the mirror, and that trial where he goes into the Dagobah tree sort of a thing. It really explained to me more about what that scene in Empire was all about. And so no matter where they list those things in the canon, it's still canon to me, right? Right. Now, with that said,
Yes,
we
same
you
here.
mentioned a little
Same
bit
here.
about seeing sort of like the motion graphics and the animation that I did to introduce my art pieces. You did that again for this one, but this isn't the first like motion comic. Is that what we're calling them that you've worked on? Tell everybody about sort of like what you're doing with your self-taught animation process as well.
I do unofficial. I always plug unofficial. This is not
Right?
official. This is not associated.
Right. Wait, is he in your print? Where show me can you explain where he is? I'm zooming in on the print right now. Okay, hold on. One, two, three, Four. Oh, okay. So he's the guy. He's got the pauldron on his shoulder, and he's got the red stripe down the middle. And in the Clone War, here I gotta zoom over for a second. In the Clone War series, he was the guy that sort of like led the attack on the tower, right? Okay. Right. Okay. And yes. Oh, that's the yes. That's the season. Like the opening sequence is the Republic dropship coming flying in. Oh no no no! It was the battle scene. Oh, is that him also? Okay. Yeah. Oh, he was. Go ahead. Right. And then once the ammo is gone, he throws his gun at. And I'll also say this: you mentioned Jag Eyes. I flashed over to a picture of Rex right in the front. Rex has the Jag Eyes on them, and they're a symbol for sort of like. Is it associated with the Mandos at all, or I don't remember where the Jag Eyes actually come from, but right, right. Well, and we also see now with the blind Kanan in Star Wars Rebels that he's adopted the Jagais on his sort of like face shield as well, and I think that that's like a tribute to Rex, and their new friendship, getting over their Clone War hurdles kind of stuff. Yes. So you've made a motion comic of this one, and it's something munalist, right? Okay.
Story leading
Right.
into him changing to his phase two armor. And what
Oh
was
yeah,
actually
yeah.
super
I
cool
know
about
James.
it is I do a lot of work for the voice actor James Arnold Taylor. So
Oh,
I do
awesome.
a lot of animation stuff and motion stuff for his one man stage show, and he was cool enough. Like as I started working for him, I said to him, James, like, is there any way I could get like Obi-Wan to appear
Oh
in the
man.
thing? And he's like, yeah, I'll do everything. So James like did
Yeah, I was
every
wondering
single voice
about
in the
that.
first one is
That's
James
a
Arnold
pretty good
Taylor
feat
just being
to have
every
him
different
come in
character, and it's awesome.
and do the voices. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was super good. And James is like the easiest, nicest person to work with. So like
Oh yeah.
just the fact that he
Yeah.
even like considered it was amazing, but then it made it feel more official and people are like,
That's
"Oh, this is
awesome.
my headcanon
So
now.
now,
Like this
now,
actually
in
happened."
addition to
So hearing
this,
that from people
I want
is
to sort of
always a
like
trip
shout out.
for me.
Let me see what I put on here for you. I put your Instagram. It's at Joe Hogan Art is where people can contact you. But I want everybody to know what your was it your DeviantArt or your
Mhm.
website. Um,
DeviantArt. I'm
yeah, but
not
I mean, I will
I'm not
be a
smart enough to
Star
put
Wars
together a
artist.
decent website.
.com. Is that what?
Oh, the old one. The old one. The
Yeah.
old one. Oh man,
Right. So
it's funny. I
here's the
thought to
thing: is
myself, I need
that
to
for those
update it
people who
because
don't
now
know
that
how
I'm
this
in the art
exactly
show,
works, what
it's
happens
as
is
official as it gets.
Star Wars. Well, the way it works now is a group of people at Lucasfilm, in addition to ILM and some other people, they all come together and they take all of the artwork, they look at it, and all of the names are removed. So they're just going through and voting on art pieces to create this art show for Celebration. So Joe, you've been working to be in the art show since Celebration 5, right?
Hmm. Yeah, this was my fourth time submitting. I submitted for six, Anaheim, and London, and did not make it. So this time I did four concepts.
Right.
I went with the one
Well, we'll
that
talk about how you
you
sort
know
of like came
that my gut spoke
to
to me,
do
which
this
was Django's
piece.
finest.
Why
So
did
that
you
was it.
choose Django for this one?
Honestly, we talked about our love for the micro series. I really just wanted to blend the old Clone Wars with the new Clone Wars because
Right.
I love Fordo. I wanted to do a piece that I could get away with Fordo being in it, and I said to myself, okay, well,
Gotcha.
what would be the coolest way to do that? Oh, I should have him with the new canon clones, and then I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool to
Right.
have Jango and like Rex and Gree and Wolf with Fordo on Camino? So it was just like a group shot of maybe like 6 troopers with Jango, and then I said, you know what? Then people are going to be a little upset that I don't have like Fives and Echo in it. So let me add them too. And I said, oh well, then I kind of need Waxer and
Right.
Boyle. Oh, then I kind of need Delta Squad. And then I just kept
Oh my
going, going,
gosh. Are
going.
you
And I said,
serious?
all right, I got to
You
stop
put
somewhere.
66
And
clones
then I
in here?
realized, you know what? 66 is a good number for
I'm
clones.
scrolling in a zoomed
So
in
that was
pic
it.
on it right
Oh yeah,
now.
there's 66 clones in this thing, man.
Awesome. Joe, that's so amazing.
There's 66.
And so when you are putting these guys together and you're looking through all of this stuff, do you have like tons of references that you're using? Do you have the action figures that you're laying out? Do you draw each one of these sort of like separately, and then you put them together? So if we were to look at sort of your layered file or your source file for all of this stuff, is each one of these troopers individual and you can move them around and rearrange some things, or how did you get that set up?
They were individual, but the file got so big that I had to start like like each
Right.
row. I ended up having to compress like all of the line art for each one is one layer. All of the flats are one layer. All of the shading is one
Yeah.
layer because it was getting so big. Um, they all started out the same
Okay.
size. What I basically did was one template standard phase 1 clone trooper, right? And then I drew one pauldron, and then I drew one earpiece, and just kept everything
Right.
separated,
Right.
and
And
had
here's Rex.
a giant spreadsheet saying, okay, what pieces
And
is each
Wolf is
character?
directly
Rex
behind
is
Rex,
the
right?
pauldron and the headset. Wolf is the shoulder
Oh,
antenna
sorry,
and
Wolf. Yes, that's
the
right. Okay.
viewfinder, and
Well, I
just
meant lined
one
up.
after the
There's
other.
another gray trooper, but
Wolf
he's
is
the phase
directly to his
2
left, not behind him.
trooper.
That Gree is directly behind. It's okay.
Okay. Nice. And you know what I didn't notice before that I'm going to zoom in on here is right across the
Oh,
middle, there's
that
a
is
group of
Commander
those
Colt, one of the
troopers that
ARC
all
troopers
have
for the
glowing
Camino episodes.
eyes. And this is, of course, Delta Squad, right? Oh, Gregor! Nice.
Mm-hmm. Of
Right,
course.
right.
Plus, and then Gregor on the far right.
That is
So Delta
amazing.
Squad is
That's
the
so
4 from the
wonderful.
left all
So
the way
then,
to
with
Seb, and
with all of
then
this
I was
stuff,
like, oh, I need one
you've
more. I got
got
to put
your
in
art
Gregor. I
print out
can't leave
there
Gregor out.
on the celebration site now. Tell me, like, this is your first time at the show. Are you going to be in the art show? In sort of the corral with everyone else there that is in there, or are you jumping out and getting a booth on your own? How are things going to operate so people know where to find you? Right.
I am not brave enough to get my own booth yet. It's a little too much stuff to art show.
Awesome.
So I'll be with Christy and Brian DeGuire and all those guys that I'm buddies with. So yeah, we'll be our own little
Right.
community. I think Chris said it best. Like it feels like you're
Boot camp.
your own little community going through like an
Now,
intense couple of days.
this isn't
like,
your
it's cool.
first show,
Like,
sort
and
of
it's
like
my first
as
show. I want to be with
exhibitor
everybody.
or
I
as
wanna be in
a
the
sort of
trenches.
like doing a Comic-Con, is it? Okay.
No, I've done New York Comic Con.
Right.
I've done a couple of like really small shows, like some
Now
retro video games
Yeah.
shows,
Now, with this
stuff like
being your
that. So,
first
but this is
celebration piece,
obviously
I
the
think
first
that one of the
celebration,
other
so
things that
this is
they've
the one
had
I've been
in the
going for.
contract in the past was that we're allowed to do some on-the-spot sort of like sketches. In addition to having your art print, which is for sale right now, it's up for pre-orders now on Amazon, Acme's Dark Ink site. Yeah. In addition to that, are you going to be doing any sketches at the show, or are you going to have that for available as well?
That'd be awesome, right?
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll do whatever anybody
Nice.
wants.
Now,
I'm not
tell us
picky.
about the size of your
So yeah,
print
I'm gonna
and
bring a
what
lot
it
of the
costs.
blank sketch cards, but maybe like some paper too if somebody wants something bigger.
Excellent. That's wonderful.
It's gonna be $40, and it is 18 by 24 inches. So yeah,
Well,
I'm
and this is the
pretty
other part,
pumped.
and I thought
Actually,
about this
the
when I was
proof is
talking
coming tomorrow, and I'm
with
just like
Jason as
climbing the
well.
walls waiting
Is
for it.
that
So
what
hopefully
happens
pulling the
is
trigger
now I
on
don't
the
think
whole
that you
batch
guys are
tomorrow.
completely aware of how many prints that you've sold in the pre-orders, but pre-orders give the artists a little bit of a sense of sort of like okay, they're paying for everything. You know, they've got to pay for their plane tickets. They've got to pay for the production of the print run. They've got to pay for their food, everything that they do to get out there. And so when they go into the show knowing that they've got X number of prints sold, then what happens with that is they have a little bit more of your mind is set at ease, I guess is what it is. So please, you guys go in, grab this art now, so that you don't have to worry about getting it in the corral later. You can jump in, grab it now,
Yep.
and it's available. So we've got that. Are there any other shows or some other things that you have coming up that are going to happen after this show, or is this your big one for the year? Because New York is in the later on in October, November, right? Okay, right.
That's in October. Actually, registration's just open for that, so I'm gonna see if I can get a spot in Artist Alley. And I'm not sure about that one, but I'm definitely doing
Whoa,
possibility I might be
in
doing a
Canada.
big convention in Winnipeg, Canada, in May. So we will see. I think it's called FanQuest. Yeah. Well, I have a
Nice.
friend who's running it, so she promised me
Excellent.
a
Well,
a table
one
there.
other
She would
question
leave
as
a slot
we're
open
sort of
for me
like wrapping
if it
up
was
here with
possible
our
for me to
time.
go.
I want to talk a little bit more about the process. So the art world has changed over the
Sure.
years, and instead of just being sort of like traditional art, we implement a lot of the digital art as well. So step us through your basic process. You find the characters, you find the art, then are you sketching with a paper and a pencil? Are you using an iPad? Are you using a tablet? Are you scanning things in? What's the process for that as you're putting it all together? Yeah.
Lately, I just
Okay.
actually got
Now,
an
wait, hold
iPad
on. Put a
Pro
little bit of a
recently, and
pause
oh
there.
man, do
There's
I
an
like
app
Procreate.
on the
It's
iPad
super cool.
called
Um,
Procreate. So when Joe
sure.
says he likes Procreate, he's saying an app that is called Pro.
Correct.
So just wanted to be clear. Okay,
I'm
there we
not
go.
saying I like
So
procreating.
the Procreate app and in
I don't have any
addition with
kids.
the iPad Pencil, it feels like you are just drawing on paper. So you start the process there. You're sketching it, or how far are you actually taking it in the app?
Uh, Typically, I'll do at least 90% of my drafting in Procreate now, just because it's comfortable to just sit in bed, sit back in a chair or whatever, and just sketch, get
Oh,
everything done.
right.
And I love the perspective guides on that thing are incredible. How it just like adheres, and like you set up your vanishing points and everything. So anytime I'm doing a scene in general, I didn't use that too
Right.
much for this print, but just in general, my process, like I adore this thing for drafting. Um, but typically
Uh huh.
after that, for the most part, I'll bring it into Photoshop on
Right.
my desktop, and I have a Cintiq, one of those giant drawing tablet monitors. So I do everything from start to finish on there a lot too. So also do a lot of sketching with the Cintiq pretty often. But yeah, so it's I'm
Right.
all digital nowadays. The only thing that is traditional for me is if somebody
Right.
commissions something specific, or
Well,
for
and
sketch
to
cards, which you and I
right, and
are
to
very
clarify
familiar
that,
with sketch cards.
everything still
Um,
happens,
yeah,
drawing, and
not
there's a
super
lot of people that
traditional
might
anymore.
sort of get in that mindset. They say, well, if you're just using the computer, it's like click, click, and
Mhm.
oh, it's done. No, it's all still drawing. It's all still labor intensive. It's all still
Yeah,
really
no,
wonderful art.
nope.
Joe, thanks for chatting with me about your artwork and about your animation, and congratulations. That you're gonna have to update that website. You're gonna buy the new domain that says I am a Star Wars
Thank
artist.
you.
Oh,
Thank
dang
you.
it. We shouldn't say this until you actually can see if it's available. Okay. I'll put a
Right,
slight delay
right.
on this posting so you can
I
check it
know
out.
someone's gonna jump on it and then gonna hold it for ransom.
But thank you so much.
All right,
Django's
perfect.
Finest is available now
So we're gonna
on
go do it now.
Acme's Dark Ink website, or you can look at Joe Hogan Art at Joe Hogan Art. Contact Joe there, and you can find out how to get this piece from him directly. Joe, thank you. Congratulations, and you're gonna have a wonderful show.
Thank you, and thank you for everyone that already pre-ordered or
Awesome.
anybody considering picking it up. Stop by, say hello. Don't feel pressure to buy. Just
Thank you very much.
come shoot the breeze with me. But either
Love
way, thank
talking
you
to you. It's great to
for the
be
interest
able
in
to
my
be
print.
connected.
And thank you,
I
Spencer,
feel
for
very
having me. My
fortunate
God,
that
of course.
I personally know the majority of the artists that are involved in the art show this year, and consider you all my friends. So glad to do my part to promote.
And you
Well,
shaped my
that,
destiny too. And that in your own way, like your print is right there. Like I look at it
yeah.
all the time.
Thank you,
Your
Tag and
tag and
Bink.
Bink,
We love those guys.
Leia,
And
like going after
we'll
Vader. It's framed right
catch up
there,
more
man.
later. Everybody, Star Wars Celebration, Orlando
Oh.
2017, Joe Hogan, Django's Finest. Talk to you soon, Joe. Bye.